audience. So I'll start with Anna. Anna, Suki has gotten in a lot of jeopardy this season, and we can tell from the clip we just saw she's going to be in a lot more trouble. How has she changed this season, and how has that affected how you approach the role?
Well, I think after last season, where she almost got killed as well, frequently and on a regular, almost episode basis, she is stronger, she's tougher, she's been through a lot, and she's grown up pretty quickly. Unfortunately, she still sort of tends to get herself involved in situations that she can't really control and where she's likely to end up being, killed or something, which is why it's good she still has her vampire boyfriend. But as far as how I play it, I'm just trying to sort of imagine what it would be like to have gone through as much as she went through in the 2 weeks or whatever our last season was, and to suddenly find myself in these situations. But that's kind of what my job is.
And one of those situations, Stephen, that she's in is she's certainly being admired by more than one vampire. So, I'm just going to ask you a hypothetical. If something were to happen between Eric, how do you think Bill would respond?
I think that it's very difficult to get away from the rangy Swede at the end of the table. But I'm not sure that Bill is going to just roll over and let it happen. So I think that he's going to fight his hardest and maybe not be quite as polite as he has been up until this point.
Now, a character that we're seeing some really big changes with is Tara. And Martina, why don't you tell us what it's like playing the softer side of her this season?
I definitely enjoy playing the softer side of her just because it shows a lot more of her vulnerability. I mean, I call Tara a hard flower, like she's got this hard case on the outside, but yet she's this delicate Juliet on the inside. And I think it's nice for everyone to see that part of her, because obviously she wasn't taken care of as a child, so I think this season you're seeing her being taken care of by Marianne's character. I think that's sort of a nice thing to see for her. Even though people miss the fiery, feisty anger, it's nice to see another range.
Okay. And Alan, as we've seen, there's going to be a lot of action coming up in the second half of the season. As a writer, how do you balance all the action with the close emotional relationships that this show has come to be known for as well? How do you balance those two things?
I actually make a joke about us having a sign in the writer's room that says, "It's the emotions, stupid." We don't actually have that sign, but we might as well, because without that, all of the action and all of the crazy set pieces and all of the craziness in the world is just going to be, it's not going to have heart, it's not going to have soul. And so we just really work really hard to always remember who these characters are, what they want, what their passions are, what they need, what they're fighting for, so that the other stuff has a foundation, an emotional foundation. And I think that's one of the reasons that, I know that's one of the reasons I responded to Charlene's books as much as I did, because that was very much true of her books, and we're just trying to do the same thing in the show.
Okay. All right, now, and a source of a lot of this action coming up is Marianne. And Michelle, I wanted to ask you, especially for this crowd here at Comic-Con, they know you from other shows in the story. In the sci-fi, fantasy genre, and we've seen you play some very powerful women, and again in TrueBlood, a very powerful woman. So why do you think this genre lends itself to female characters who are this powerful?
I think the genre gives a lot of freedom to see things that could be possible in the future, and that is women. Mary McDonald and I spoke a lot about this on Battlestar. She's a goddess, by the way. And I think that it just sort of opens up everyone's. It takes a lot of the cliches out of our minds. We're able to have more freedom in our thought. And I think it's just a very forgiving genre, and especially in this show, everything's so heightened in one sense, but you know, the beautiful thing about Alan and our writers is it's so grounded in emotions, and I think we're seeing an entirely new love for these different genres.
Okay. And now, Sodom, everybody loves Lafayette. Lafayette is having a little post-traumatic stress disorder these days. He's been through quite a time. How would you say his worldview has changed since he had his pretty bad experience down there in the basement?
Well, I think Lafayette's hustle is supreme. And he's figured out that it's not going to work for him to get him out of the situation. And that's something that's foreign. So now I think he's rethinking his hustle, and maybe he's going to stop doing it. But we'll see. We'll see.
Okay, thank you. Charlene, you and I have talked before, and something funny that came up when we were talking was, you were saying, you know, when I first saw True Blood, when I first saw it, there were some scenes that made me just go, whoa, I had to cover my eyes. So can you tell us a little bit about that experience when you first saw your book brought to life?
HBO was kind enough to send me a copy before the premiere, and I watched it, and you know, some of the scenes I went, oh! And then I called my husband and I said, honey, we're going to have to move.
And I guess you're assuming we all know what those scenes were. Yes. Okay. Now, Sam, we've talked a little bit about how your character's been a little unlucky in love, but we're seeing him right now with someone who he seems to have a lot in common with, Daphne, but we've heard some hints out there that things might not be going so well with that. So, what's up with Sam and his future with women? Is he going to find a nice girl?
Well, he gets a little bit lucky with Daphne, you know. But Sam's a real magnet for abuse this year. In a lot of ways, I'm just trying to survive this year. I think, just trying to get by. But Sam's journey in this year and hopefully years to come it really is sort of sparked by his meeting with Daphne and what she teaches him, and whether he grows from that or regrets it. We'll have to see.